Muy buenas tardes a todos y bienvenidos a otra edición del Virtual Investment Summit de Fund Society. Hoy contamos con el equipo de LONVIA Capital, un proyecto que sin duda va a dar que hablar en el 2021, un proyecto que llega pisando fuerte tanto a España como a Latinoamérica. LONVIA Capital es una gestora independiente que se centra en la selección de compañías de alta calidad y de crecimiento con un modelo de puro stock picking. Y para que nos cuenten en detalle el proyecto, contamos con los socios y fundadores. Por un lado tenemos a Cyril Carrier, socio fundador y director de inversiones. Hi Cyril, how are you?
Very fine, thanks.
Thank you for joining us. Y por otro lado contamos con Iván Díez y con Francisco Rodríguez, ambos son socios y directores de desarrollo de negocio para el sur de Europa y para Latinoamérica. Iván, Francisco, ¿cómo estáis?
Buenas tardes, Elena, muchas gracias.
Hola, Elena, buenas tardes, encantado.
No, encantados de que nos contéis este nuevo proyecto que, como decía, sin duda va a ser muy exitoso y va a dar mucho que hablar en los próximos años. Antes de poner un vídeo en el que explicamos un poco de qué va la firma, os queremos recordar a todos nuestros oyentes que podéis hacer preguntas a través de la sección del Q&A de Webex o podéis mandar un email a info@fansociety.com y más tarde nuestros invitados contestarán a todas las preguntas que pueda haber. Y bueno, ya vamos a comenzar. Si podemos poner el vídeo, por favor.
LONVIA Capital is an independent asset management company with an investment philosophy based on long-term value creation on European equities. With Cyril Levancé, who has been working with me for many years, and an extensive and experienced team, we have founded LONVIA Capital to continue the development of a singular and well-known investment philosophy, applied successfully for many years on the European small and mid-cap segment, with increased resources and new ambitions for growth. At LONVIA Capital, stock selection is the exclusive driver of performance. Our investment philosophy is thus based on the identification, analysis, and selection of business models that we consider sustainable and value-creating over the long term. These companies are present in growing markets and execute growth-oriented strategies through the investment in innovation, the development of new products, the investment in human capital, the expansion into new customer segments, and the deployment in new geographies. They can thus grow considerably in a few years, and our ambition at LONVIA Capital is to support these companies in their development and to allow our investors to benefit from this value creation over the long term. This selection is based on a rigorous financial analysis process, relying on fieldwork and regular exchanges with companies' management. This is the very essence of our philosophy, to have the best possible understanding of economic models and growth strategies in order to extract ourselves from the evolution of stock markets, over which we have no control, and to focus on monitoring and supporting the companies in our funds over the long term. In line with this long-term vision of investment and the search for economic models oriented towards sustainable and durable growth, we at LONVIA Capital also pay particular attention to the function of social utility, the impact of companies, both in terms of their business purpose and what they produce, as well as in the way they do so. In line with our investment philosophy focused on long-term, sustainable and durable growth, we at LONVIA Capital have decided to devote 10% of our earnings to support projects that reflect our vision in the fields of medical research, education and social inclusion, or environmental preservation. Like our investments, we also aim to create a virtuous circle with our partners and the society as a whole.
LONVIA Capital es un proyecto nuevo, desde luego no lo son los miembros del equipo, todos cuentan con un amplio reconocimiento y con un amplio track record. Así que, ¿por qué no, Francisco, Iván, empezáis un poco contándonos acerca de cómo nace la compañía? Francisco, empiezo contigo. Si nos puedes contar cómo nace LONVIA Capital y cuáles son las características diferenciales que traéis al mercado.
Sí, gracias Elena y gracias a todos los que nos acompañan hoy. La verdad que es siempre muy emocionante hablar con nuestros inversores, con las personas que les gusta la industria y que siguen a través de fondos de inversión la construcción de sus carteras. La verdad que estamos muy contentos de poder presentar nuestro proyecto, que como decías tú, nace con la fuerte convicción de los 8 socios que conformamos LONVIA Capital. Esa convicción el principal driver es intentar ofrecer al mercado español y latinoamericano también, y allá en aquellos mercados donde estamos presentes, especialización y diferenciación. Esto queremos lograrlo a través de un modelo evidentemente de gestión que Cyril lleva consolidando durante los últimos 15 años de su carrera, y queremos ponerlo en práctica para generar valor para todos aquellos inversores que nos acompañen. Por ser muy concretos, mira, nosotros queremos generar evidentemente muy buenos resultados, seguir con la consistencia que caracteriza la gestión de nuestro equipo de inversiones, pero también queremos diferenciarnos a través del servicio, a través de la personalización. Y efectivamente eso trae diferenciación cuando nos relacionamos con nuestros inversores, adaptarnos a sus necesidades de forma muy pragmática, ¿no? Eso es una prioridad para todo el equipo también. Y con respecto a nuestras ventajas competitivas, bueno, es verdad que nosotros, la filosofía de Cyril, yo diría que como primera característica, es una filosofía consolidada y además muy galardonada durante sus últimos 9 años en su anterior casa, por ejemplo, ¿no? Ha obtenido, es un modelo que ha obtenido más de 45 premios a nivel europeo dados por los principales providers de la industria, y eso es muy importante de resaltar. Luego, es verdad que Cyril, como segunda característica, Cyril Carrier está acompañado por su mano derecha, que es Cyril de Vancé, y ya luego tendremos manera de profundizar con respecto al otro equipo, pero tenemos un equipo reforzado de 4 personas, en donde, digamos, se amplían nuestras capacidades, y eso es algo muy importante también. Como tercer punto, yo diría, estamos implementando muchos criterios de forma con mucha convicción con respecto a el impacto social y medioambiental de nuestras compañías que conforman las carteras. También tendremos manera a lo largo de la presentación de ir viendo cuáles son esas características, pero nos estamos tomando muy en serio y de forma pragmática queremos hacerlo, el impacto real que tiene esas características sobre nuestra sociedad en su conjunto. Y como cuarto punto, yo resumiría, y podemos ponerlo en la slide siguiente, que hemos nacido con una estructura operativa muy robusta. Nosotros nos vamos a dedicar, los 8 socios que estamos en la compañía, nos vamos a dedicar a aquello donde podemos agregar valor. Somos 4 personas dedicadas al equipo de inversiones y somos otras 4 personas dedicadas al desarrollo de negocio y a la relación con inversores. Todo lo demás, la parte, por ejemplo, referente a back office, front office, mesa de negociación, la hemos externalizado a un player muy conocido y además muy robusto que se llama Amundi Services. Amundi, conocido por todos, una gran gestora internacional que ofrece un servicio como el que mencionaba anteriormente para terceras gestoras, con lo cual esto es un modelo muy ventajoso porque no solamente nos beneficiamos del pricing o de las condiciones que puede tener Amundi en negociación, sino que además tenemos el respaldo de un grupo a nivel operativo como lo son ellos, ¿no? Y por la parte de compliance y de auditoría interna principalmente, hemos externalizado estas funciones a Gama. Gama es uno de los players más importantes de consultoría a nivel de consultoría regulatoria a nivel internacional. Tiene sede también en París, con lo cual ellos nos han desarrollado todos nuestros procesos de compliance y de auditoría interna, nos lo revisan con cierta periodicidad y además siguen procesos muy robustos. Esto para contarles que nuestra estructura operativa nace con una robustez muy particular. Y esto es un objetivo que queríamos alcanzar desde el primer minuto. Digamos que lo que queríamos era ofrecer, evidentemente, la excelencia en resultados que siempre ha buscado Cyril y su equipo, la excelencia también en servicio a nivel de desarrollo de negocio y relación con inversores, pero además que tuviésemos una carcasa que nos proporcionara efectivamente una estructura operativa muy robusta desde el primer minuto.
España para nosotros es un mercado prioritario. Es un mercado prioritario por varias razones, pero destacaría un par de ellas. Muchos inversores ya conocen la filosofía y el proceso de inversión de Cyril en pequeñas y medianas compañías, que es un proceso que ha desarrollado e implementado de manera consistente pues desde el 2008 en su primera etapa como gestor en Barclays hasta el día de hoy. Y además, ya como decía, ya muchos inversores conocen su filosofía. A finales de junio de este año, según datos de la CNMV, pues había casi 9.000 partícipes invertidos en sus estrategias tanto de la zona euro como en Europa. Por lo tanto, hay que tener en cuenta que los fondos de Cyril se empezaron a distribuir en el mercado español en abril del 2012, es decir, hace ya más de 8 años. Además, es importante resaltar que las estrategias de Cyril pues han gozado de la confianza de una base de inversores muy diversificada, tanto en términos de tipología de cliente como en términos de geografía. Hemos tenido y tiene inversores en España, evidentemente, pero en Europa, en América Latina, en Oriente Medio y en Asia. Entonces, el mercado español es un mercado de contacto, es un mercado donde tener presencia y un equipo local es fundamental. Bueno, si nos atenemos a las cifras de Inverco y de la CNMV, pues casi el 100% de los activos en fondos internacionales que hay en España pues están en productos de gestoras con presencia local. Es importantísimo tener un conocimiento profundo del mercado local, de sus tendencias, de sus competidores. Es un negocio que se basa en la confianza. Entonces, cuando abres una oficina, estás lanzando un mensaje claro de compromiso con el mercado local, estás reforzando tu marca, estás prestando un servicio más rápido, más cercano y empiezas a ser consciente de cuáles son realmente las necesidades de tu cliente. Por lo tanto, es importante tener esa presencia local. Conoces muy bien a tus clientes, sabes seleccionar el tipo de información que tienes que enviarles en cada momento. Hay que tener en cuenta que los inversores cada vez son más selectivos y estamos entrando en un periodo donde estamos compitiendo no solo por productos, sino por la excelencia en el servicio. Entonces, para terminar, para LONVIA Capital no se trata solo de llegar, sino de mantenernos en el futuro.
Muchísimas gracias, Iván. Si te parece, hablamos con Cyril, un poco más de temas de estrategia. Cyril, how are you? Are you there?
I'm there, listening.
Okay. Bueno, lo primero, contar un poco sobre la trayectoria de Cyril, que es una persona que cuenta con un largo track record en la industria. Comenzó en el 98 en Rocher Gestión, era analista de pequeñas y de medianas compañías multisectoriales y ahí fue donde empezó a desarrollar su modelo y filosofía de gestión. Después de 10 años, en el 2007, se incorporó a Barclays Wealth Managers en París, donde era vicepresidente y gestor de fondos de mediana capitalización de la zona euro, Barclays Small Cap y Barclays Euro Equity, Small and Mid. En 2012 pasó a ser director adjunto de gestión de renta variable y bonos convertibles en Grupama, donde ha cosechado excelentes resultados hasta septiembre de este año. Cyril cuenta con un máster en finanzas por el ESCP y se graduó en París en economía por la Universidad de Sorbona, por la Unidad Sorbona, perdón. Gestiona los fondos LONVIA Avenir Midcap Euro y LONVIA Avenir Midcap Europe. So, Cyril, I'm going to say first the questions in Spanish, and then you can go ahead and I will translate it into English, and you can go ahead and answer them. Nuestra primera pregunta es ¿qué te ha llevado, después de una larga trayectoria en Grupama, qué te ha llevado a fundar LONVIA Capital y cuál es el equipo que te va a acompañar? So, what led you to found LONVIA Capital and who's going to be your new team?
Well, the LONVIA Capital is an independent asset management that is based in Paris and in Madrid, because we are really a French-Spanish company, I would say. And the idea is really to continue a unique and recognized investment process. My investors know the track record, as mentioned by Ivan, with our former funds, long-term, very strong performances and winning award funds. And with the idea is really to have strengthened resources to continue the management of those stock selection on small and mid cap in Europe, and with growth ambition. And the idea really is to have a platform for growth. That was not possible in our former business, and the idea was to be able to do what we ask to our company. The idea is really to invest the success of your product into your future growth, and to have the ability to hire new talents, attract new talents, and launch new product. And LONVIA Capital is really that platform. First of all, of course, to continue the management of our famous strategy on the small and mid cap Eurozone, European, and dedicated small cap Europe. And of course, be able to as a partnership, attract new talents and deploy the investment philosophy into new geographies and to be able indeed to launch new products in the coming years. So first of all, the idea is once again to capitalize on our track records with myself and Cyril Devancé, the investment team that used to manage the funds we talk about, and reinforced with the ability day one to add 2 new analysts to help us to identify, analyze, and select those growth companies that will become the large companies of tomorrow. And that's very important, because for years and years and years, our investors ask me why not strengthening your team, and it was just basically not possible to hire people and to develop the product. So first of all, first part, you can move to the previous slide, really to start with a reinforced investment team, with myself as the fund manager of the LONVIA Avenir Mid Cap Euro and LONVIA Avenir Mid Cap Europe, which are exactly the same stock selection that my former investor used to know, and Cyril Devancé that joined me in 2014 at the time of the launch of the European small and mid cap strategy, and since 2017 he's in charge of the dedicated small cap Europe fund. Now it's called LONVIA Avenir Small Cap Europe, and we will have the help of Jacques Lombard and Dorian Terral, those that will be our backup portfolio manager and our financial analyst, helping us to find those champions of tomorrow. And as you see, we are starting with already 8%. Actually, you have 4% coming from Groupama and 4% coming from Amiral Gestion, another famous asset management company in France. 4 people in each company that used to work together. So that's really the spirit, the mindset of what we have decided to create. And as I said, it's a French-Spanish company, as we have we have Ivan and Francisco in Spain already, and Jean-Baptiste Barenton, which is the CEO of the company in charge of the organization part and the legal part of the business, and Jacques Lombard. They were both working in Spain for a couple of years. So we are 4 persons totally fluent in Spain, I would say. And if we spend just a few minutes on the next slide on Dorian and Jack, once again, it's very interesting because Jack used to work in Barcelona, and then used to work in Singapore. So really a curious, very curious spirit. And he was specialized on small and mid cap worldwide in Europe and then in Asia. And he came back from Singapore to join us at the creation of the company. And Dorian used to be a sales side analyst in Paris on the technology sector before joining the asset management firm that he left for us. And as you know, we are very invested in technology and innovation in that space, and both are really very complementary to me and Cyril Devancé in our research for those companies.
Cyril, después de más de 22 años de experiencia, ¿cuáles crees que son los factores en los que se basa tu éxito como inversor? So after more than 22 years of experience, Cyril, could you please tell us which are the factors where your success is based on?
Yeah, the general question of the general title of the presentation is quality, growth, and conviction. And the idea there is that I truly think that being a fund manager is a long-term process. And as mentioned in my bio and that you present, I've been a financial analyst for about 10 years at Rothschild & Company Gestion in Paris before starting at Barclays. First to rebuild the investment process with my financial analysis skills, but for European equities, and then starting as a fund manager and managing my own Eurozone small and mid-cap fund at Barclays before joining Groupama. And the idea is really that what I learned from these years is that you have to focus on your skills. And my skills are financial analysis. So it's very natural that I've built an investment process focused strictly on financial analysis, identifying, analyzing, and selecting the companies with strong prospects, with no other input into that process. So for me, asset management is really not about doing opportunistic bet on whether the market will be up or down, risk on or risk off, or if you should buy a sector or sell another because there's an interest rate increase or because the oil price is down. It's asset management for me is really about investing in those good companies, in those good companies positioned on good markets with strategy geared to growth by continuous reinvestment into future growth. And those companies will be able to create value in the long term, in the long run. So this is for me totally common sense of doing asset management. And this is really a very patrimonial way of investing. You want to invest into good businesses that will grow, and that's the base. The second point, I think that's been key also is a chance to being on the right spot, because investing into small and mid caps is really a chance, because I think that we are in a period of very strong innovation in every sector. I start at a time where the big cap in our benchmarks were oil company, banks, and retailing, I would say. And now I have to say that I've never seen so much innovation in every sector, in the field of industry, technology, services, medical tech, anywhere. And small and mid cap is the sweet spot to be able to invest into those innovation. So you have all those small companies with very innovative products, best-in-class technology, and that's maybe already a local leader, for instance, with a strong local presence, and that are starting to deploy their product and their strategy, for instance, from France, Germany, or Sweden, I don't know, becoming a European player and then going worldwide. So there's really a lot of opportunity for long-term value creation. And then I would say that Europe has a real richness in terms of innovation in all sectors. Europe is always considered as a low growth area, but actually now there's a lot of underlying innovation in every sector. And that's, once again, it's very interesting and to find those companies. And also Europe has real know-how in a couple of specific sectors, such as medical tech. We are very strong in all the pharma business, and thanks to the pharma ecosystem, we are also very strong in the medical tech. And also we are very strong in everything that's related to automation, to efficiency in factories, efficiency in warehouses, and all those sorts of things where we have invented automation. So we are very good at. So once again, then, once you identify and you've selected the right company, the idea is that you can stay on board on those small and mid caps and really be able to accompany them in their growth journey, because those companies can really double, triple, quadruple their sales and earnings and cash flow in a couple of years. And that's really the beauty of being on that sweet spot of small and mid caps. Next, I would say that what is very important is being rigorous in what you're doing in terms of analysis. And the idea here is really to always try to do the best homework you can in terms of understanding a market and a business model, so that you can really extract yourself of market volatility. And that's really key in the mindsets of what I've done for years and years. Avoid market noise and just focus on the quality of the business models and the right execution of the industrial strategies of the companies you're investing in. And that's really very important, because when I talk about long-term value creation, this is the term I use every day. This is once again, as I said in the video, the very essence of the success of what we have done. And you should always think long-term. Markets are very inefficient, and there's a lot of volatility events, and we saw that in the recent years. This year with the pandemic, and in 2018 with the Sino-American trade war, but also in 2016 with the Brexit. There's a lot of volatility in the market, and this volatility is also exacerbated by all the derivatives and speculative products that are on the market. So the markets are inefficient short term. You see what happened during the pandemic. In March, the market were just down 35% within 3 weeks and then recover. So there is absolutely no efficiency in the short term. But in the long term, the markets are efficient. And if you are invested in the good company with that create value for the shareholders, thanks to their positioning and their strategy to growth, it will be recognized in the market, and you will see in the long run in the appreciation of their share price and their market cap. And I think that's really key in that vision of long-term investment. So I would say, as a conclusion, the title of the presentation is Quality, Growth, and Conviction. I would say you have to focus on stock selection, selecting the good companies, be rigorous in what you are doing, and think long term. Always think long term in terms of investment, and that's for me the right answer to your question.
So you already covered a little bit about your investment philosophy, but can you tell us more about it? ¿Cuál sería nos puedes hablar un poco más en concreto de tu filosofía de inversión?
Yes. As you have it on the slide that was presented, when I finally I built my investment process and investment philosophy. Once again, the idea is really clear. Focus on pure stock picking. So our funds are really a collection of companies that are selected for their ability to create value in the long run for shareholders. That's the base of what we are doing. And then do it in a very rigorous and analytical way. I'm a financial analyst, so invest into what you know and understand, and that you can modelize and value. And knowing and understanding is very important, because there are as many companies as there are business model here. And this is the place for innovation. So the only way to understand a business model is to do homework, to spend time with the management that decide the strategy and execute them. So I think spending maybe more than half of my time with the investment, with the company are investing in, so to be in a strong position, to have the ability to validate the business models, and then to really have the ability to modelize the value creation journey in terms of operating figures, what kind of growth, with what kind of investment needed, and so on, to be able to really understand what the company will become, and not what the company is today, but what the company could become within 3 to 5 years if the strategy is well executed. Once again, those companies can change considerably in size and in margins or in cash flow generation in a couple of years. So the idea is to be able to modelize the value creation in operating terms, and to understand what could the company become in a 3 to 5 years, and what I would be ready to pay for that. So the idea is really once again to validate the business models, and then really set from a modelization point of view what will be the journey for value creation, and understanding if once again the company can grow and create value in terms of operating, and for us in terms of revaluation of their stock price in the long run, not today, so but really in the long run. And once we've said, well, okay, the model is fine and there is value potential for us, then we invest, and then we are there to accompany the company in this journey, in his strategy, sometimes financing them. So, for instance, we will help a software company into a portfolio for financing an acquisition of another software company to complete their portfolio. Very interesting. So, and we are there for that. It's just not being a shareholder, but it's also helping the companies to grow. And if you can just move to the next slide. I will add also that, of course, yeah, on the next slide, please. Yeah, and there's our investment process philosophy is, of course, to pick the right companies with those good prospects of growth, but also it's an issue of portfolio construction. So we are investing into small caps, maybe 150, 200, 300 million market cap. So those companies are still in their infancy. The industrial risk is still there. They have they have already a good product. They have already a good presence in their market, but still there are risks in terms of deployment strategy. So when we select a company, we always start with a small position, and it's the right execution of the strategy of the company that will, of course, make the stock price re-rate, progress, and all things equals, the position into our portfolio will increase. But of course, if a company execute well its strategy and grow years after years, and for instance, double or triple its addressable market by moving to the US from Europe, for instance, of course, the industrial risk is lower. So we can allocate more money to the position. So when you see in our fund a company with position by 3, 4, or 5%, it's always a company that starts with a 1%. So that's very key to the mindset. We are for the small and mid cap fund that I manage. You have a consistent structure of mid caps, well-established names that are in their journey, and those are the company with 3, 4, 5% in terms of position. But then there's a lot of those new company with 1%, 1.5% that are there to become the next creator of performance for the funds, and that's very important in terms of risk management, in terms of portfolio construction. So it's really a stock selection process, but also a portfolio construction process. And maybe on the next slide, I will finish that here regarding the pure philosophy of investment. The idea is once again, and it was mentioned already in the video, is that at the very end, when you want to invest into those companies that are positioned in good market and with growth strategy, at the very end, you want those companies that are always investing into product innovation, into human capital, into deploying horizontally or vertically into new businesses, and of course, grow internationally. That's very important for our company to be able to grow for instance, from a local presence in Europe to a European, then to the US, and then to Asia, China, or South Korea, for instance, because it allows you to really to grow every year, to grow your addressable market, and those companies are able to create their future growth always, and that's why I talk about a virtuous cycle of growth. That's really key, because if you have a good company with good growth, good margins, generating good cash, these companies has the ability to invest organically, but also to grow through acquisitions and to, for instance, complete a product offering, but also enter a new market, a new geography through acquisitive. And there's really this virtual cycle of growth of companies that are always growing, because they are always investing into their future growth. And that's really, I think, the key of what we are doing here at LONVIA Capital.
Por último, ¿qué oportunidades ves en el universo de las compañías pequeñas y medianas en Europa? So, in this environment, what opportunities do you see in the small and mid-cap European companies universe?
Yeah. What I used to say is, as I already said, Europe has strong know-how in a couple of sectors, and it's not the case everywhere, but in a couple of sectors we are very good at. And starting with the medical tech, and as I said, the pharma business in Europe is very strong in all countries, and that's there's a lot of research in that field, and in the medical tech, it's obviously an area of strong innovation, and more than ever with the pandemic that we have, medical innovation and investment into that field is really key for the healthcare systems and for even from political standpoint for our governments. So there are really a lot of innovation in that area. And Europe is very good. Is very good there, being in equipment and consumables for drug discovery. We are very strong, and drug production also. There are key players here, even for those innovative therapies that we are talking about, all the biotech, the gene therapy, or the ARN messenger, the new future, maybe new vaccine from Moderna and Pfizer, BioNTech, that are really very innovative, and we are very good there to help all the farmers in the world to produce that. We are also very strong in all the medical diagnostic business, and we are producing very strong devices and medical techs in that field. Once again, that proved to be a very important thing in Europe those days. But apart from just the medical techs for the COVID-19, but we're also very good in all the diagnostic for all the day-to-day diagnostic that we need for oncology or blood cell analysis and those kinds of things. We are very, very strong with name in Sweden, with name in Italy. We are very good at it. And of course, another medical tech where we are good at is everything that is linked to the ophthalmic. Once again, here we have best-in-class companies like Calidad in Germany or Revenio in Finland in this diagnostic and treatment of ophthalmology for the cataract, for elderly people, for the glaucoma, or for eye surgery. We have best-in-class technology. That's the mindset of Europe. We are not producer of mass market machines, but we are producer of niche best-in-class technology. And then there's a lot of company in Europe in the field of dentistry, in the field of IVF treatment, in vitro fertilization treatment for helping female to have babies, and for wound care treatment, for hearing aids, for instance. We have the best producer in the world for hearing aids, for instance. So a lot of strong know-how there. And as presented in the picture above the Tecnologia Medica, you see digital innovation is once again here in the medical field very, very important, and more and more of the innovation is there because there are all those digital software and algorithm and intelligence artificial that are helping for diagnostic, for instance. So medical tech is also helped a lot into those innovation through innovation in the digital field. And here, once again, we don't have the big GAFAs like in US or in China, but we have been able to create a lot of very interesting companies. And for instance, in the 3D design. And we are very good in 3D design. We used to have Dassault Systèmes, for instance, a very strong company in France for the automotive industry and for aerospace. That are sectors that are very ahead of other industrial sectors in terms of digital investment in information technology. And now there's a lot of other sectors that are lagging now, but they are investing a lot now. So that's why, for instance, we have a very strong player in the field of software for the architect, engineering, and construction industry. We are very good here and there's a lot of innovation in that field. We are also very good for everything that is geared to the software for the design of factories. Once again, we have big names in the UK like Aveva or Hexagon in Sweden for strong skills in that part. I mentioned the fact that innovation digital for medical tech is very important, but here once again there's a lot of software in the field of general healthcare, I would say, software for the doctors, software for the hospitals, or software for the global information systems, and that have been really key during that pandemic and show how it is important. It's very interesting that we have strong companies here, for instance, in Germany with CompuGroup, which is the European leader for software for the doctors, or Nexus, which is the European leader for the hospitals, software for the hospitals. And here, for instance, the German government has just decided to invest 4.3 billion euros into the digitalization of hospitals in Germany. So once again, the pandemic has been tough, but it has been really shown how the investment in those technology is really important. And then it's very impressive to see how a very large number of small software companies dedicated for the small and mid-cap companies, because small and mid-cap companies are lagging in terms of digitalization, and they cannot buy the big SAP software, the big ERP or CRM software like Salesforce and so on. And because of that, there's a lot of small company with dedicated with software like CRM or ERP, administrative tasks for specific verticals or niches. Once again, here we have very good companies in our fund. For instance, we have Fortnox in Sweden that is up today 11%. That is doing administrative software for companies in Sweden. We have Esker in France. We have Admicom in Finland. There's a lot of really innovation in that field that's very, very impressive. Another part of the I would say digital innovation that is where we are good at is in the semi. Actually, we have the best company called ASML in Europe for lithography of the semi fabrication of the chip. But there's an ecosystem also there, and we are good here. For instance, for the semis in the automotive field, we've been long-term investment of a company like Melexis, for instance, in Belgium, which is doing a semiconductor for the automotive, and there are more and more with the electrification of cars, more and more chips everywhere in the car. But as I mentioned, ASML, we are also good in those production tools for the production of the wafers, and then for the packaging of the chips. And once again, we are best in class technology in those areas. And of course, we need IT services, because as proved once again during that pandemic and lockdown period, and we had to work from home for a couple of months. The company have to transform the way they produce and the way they sell, and they really need to adapt to the new technologies. And there's a lot of value created by the services around this transformation of digitalization. And once again, here we have very good player. Once again, they are more localized to specific country, but there's a lot of innovation. So a couple of innovation in the digital space. I mentioned also cybersecurity. Once again, that has been proved to be very important during that lockdown period, with all those remote activity, to have really high security in what we are doing. And then I think that's one of the strongest know-how that we have in Europe, not in France, in Europe actually. It's more in Germany and in Sweden than in France actually. It's automation, and automation, of course. Automation started because we were very strong at building cars, and that's why automation is we are the king of the automation. And now, of course, automation is also there and strong in the warehousing, and because of the e-commerce boom. And because of the e-commerce boom, there are high level of investment in high-end equipment for warehouse management, like those conveyors and sorting systems, and that are bought by the Amazon and all the big retailers that are deploying their e-commerce strategy. And we are very strong, being in those specific products, being in the material handling, being in the engineering of those warehouses. There's a lot of company there, and my investors know that we have been long-term investors of, for instance, a very interesting Swiss company called Interroll. That's the best-in-class technology for those conveyors and sorting systems that are sold to Amazon and to the postal group that are managing all those e-commerce business. And also then we are. There's a automation of the factories, and here once again there are more and more software with the hardware to be more and more efficient, like those machine vision systems, all those optical systems that allow to control the production and the quality of the product, the positioning also of the robots, but also the quality of those metering solutions. That is really the quality of the assembly. On the assembly lines, for instance, if you want to produce an iPhone 12, you have to really be sure that everything is well made, packaged, and there is no issue regarding the different parts of the phone. And that's once again we are very good in Germany, in Sweden. We are very strong player in that field. And then I will add also the Industry 4.0. Industry 4.0 is the next level of the automation. It's really the integration of sensors and communication systems and software for process data generation and collection and analysis of those data in the factory, and to use those data to optimize your production processes. So once again, automation. We are very strong and always, and once again, those ones, if during that year of high volatility, those ones have been really able to prove very resilient in terms of operating performance and stock performance. And then, of course, there's apart from those three, I would say, big dynamic. We can find a very interesting company in every sector. And I mentioned a couple of consumer-related niches where we are good at, for instance, video games, of course, with companies like Ubisoft in France, or Keyword Systems for outsourced services for gaming in the UK. We have a sport equipment company like Technogym. We have online banking. We are good here with Fineco Bank, for instance. There's a lot of companies with specific niches that not belong to the big dynamics, but really that are on a sweet spot in terms of market growth and with best-in-class positioning. And that's really, you have to be curious and open-minded, and you can find companies in any sectors, actually.
Thank you very much, Cyril. That was very interesting. Thank you. LONVIA Capital desembarca con 3 fondos centrados en empresas de pequeña y mediana capitalización, tanto en Europa como en la zona euro. Francisco, tal vez nos puedes contar brevemente sobre la gama de fondos de LONVIA Venir, por favor.
Sí, claro, Elena. Nosotros, como bien decías, nos estamos enfocando en especialización. Nuestra especialización ahora es en pequeñas y medianas compañías. Si nos vamos a la primera slide, nosotros nacemos con 3 estrategias específicas, 2 estrategias focalizadas en pequeñas y medianas compañías. Los nombres de estos fondos son LONVIA Venir Mid Cap Euro, que es una estrategia que se concentra solo en la zona euro. Luego, LONVIA Venir Mid Cap Europe, que es una estrategia que amplía su universo de inversión, sobre todo a países nórdicos, Reino Unido y Suiza, fuera de la zona euro. Y luego, en la última estrategia, que es nuestro fondo de micro y pequeñas compañías europeas, es LONVIA Venir Small Cap Europe, focalizado, efectivamente en compañías de menor capitalización, y además también expandiendo todo su universo de inversión al resto de Europa. Como decía antes, el equipo en donde se concentra es en las regiones nórdicas, Reino Unido y Suiza. Es importante mencionar que nuestra descomposición geográfica o sectorial solo depende del stock picking. Nosotros trabajamos con historias individuales, modelos de negocio, y luego esa descomposición pues es el resultado de ese análisis fundamental, ¿no? Quería también comentar que nuestras carteras son carteras de alta convicción, y veréis cómo, digamos que tenemos entre 40 y 55 posiciones de media en nuestros fondos. Una cosa relevante también es que nuestras estrategias de pequeña y mediana capitalización son gestionados, el gestor principal es Cyril Carrier, y nuestra estrategia de micro y pequeñas compañías, LONVIA Venir Small Cap Europe, el gestor principal en este caso es Cyril Devancé. Si pasamos, quería comentar una característica importante dentro de nuestras carteras a nivel de capitalización bursátil. Nuestra etapa de LONVIA Capital nos ha permitido rejuvenecer nuestras carteras, porque evidentemente Cyril viene de gestionar 4.000 millones de euros en su anterior etapa. Ahora evidentemente nuestro tamaño es menor, y esto nos está permitiendo incorporar, sobre todo en el fondo de micro y pequeñas compañías, modelos de negocios con menores capitalizaciones que antes era imposible por el volumen, con lo cual es verdad que ahora nuestra ventaja en este momento es que estamos rejuveneciendo las carteras y como decimos nosotros, invirtiendo en aquellas compañías que consideramos los campeones del mañana, ¿no? Nuestras compañías, el core de nuestras compañías van desde 100 millones de capitalización hasta 1.500, y la idea es que nosotros, el proceso sea un acompañamiento en el tiempo de estas compañías, con lo cual, en la medida en la cual estos modelos de negocio sean exitosos y crezcan, en esa medida, esa compañía ganará peso en la cartera. Esto es importante y quiero solamente resaltarlo, porque nuestro equipo no hace apuestas discrecionales sobre si invertir en una compañía un 4, si invertir en otra un 6, eso no sucede. Lo que sucede es que empezamos con todas las compañías con un máximo de 1% de peso, y es el mismo éxito de ese modelo de negocio, el mismo crecimiento de la compañía quien se va ganando el peso en la cartera. Esto nos permite, evidentemente, ser mucho más conservadores, testear de alguna manera que el modelo de negocio esté funcionando y que el éxito de la cartera dependa del éxito también de la compañía. Bueno, quiero cerrar este mensaje diciendo un poco, recapitulando, digamos, las características, porque creo que Cyril nos ha hecho una intervención muy completa y muy interesante para conocer evidentemente cuáles son el tipo de compañías en las que nos queremos concentrar. Y hay unas características fundamentales que aparecían en la slide, que son la inversión en la innovación. Para nosotros es muy importante, y sobre todo en el segmento de pequeñas y medianas compañías, donde la innovación juega un rol fundamental. Luego, que estas compañías inviertan en capital humano, o sea, que puedan invertir en talento, cosa que nosotros en LONVIA Capital seguramente es una prioridad ahora y será en el futuro. Luego, que tengan una internacionalización de su negocio. Como bien decía Cyril, y esto está muy ligado al acompañamiento en el tiempo de las compañías, a nosotros nos gustan las compañías que empiezan siendo un player local, luego se consolidan como players regionales y luego terminan siendo compañías internacionales completamente en su modelo de negocio.
Muchísimas gracias, Francisco. Estamos recibiendo preguntas de nuestros asistentes y hay varias con respecto a ESG. En concreto, preguntan que en este entorno en el que el ESG Investing está aquí ya para quedarse, si consideráis que las pequeñas y medianas compañías están preparadas. Y si es más fácil para ellos innovar y precisamente adaptarse a estas tendencias de sostenibilidad. Iván, tal vez nos podrías hablar tú sobre el posicionamiento de vuestras carteras en ESG.
Sí, por supuesto. Vamos a ver, vamos a empezar diciendo que para nosotros es primordial el integrar ese análisis extrafinanciero, ver el impacto que tienen nuestras compañías, tanto en la sociedad como en el medio ambiente, es fundamental. Pero tenemos que tener en cuenta una cosa, Elena, los datos que hoy en día nos proporcionan agencias de calificación extrafinanciera, pues no están estandarizados ni son exhaustivos en lo que respecta al universo de pequeñas y medianas compañías, me refiero. Entonces, para determinadas compañías o sectores, pues los datos pueden ser de una calidad delimitada o poco discriminatorios. De hecho, con respecto a nuestros fondos, pues entre el 80 y el 85% de las compañías que tenemos no están monitorizadas ni calificadas activamente por agencias de calificación extrafinanciera. Por lo tanto, ¿qué hemos hecho nosotros? Nosotros lo que hemos hecho desde LONVIA Capital es desarrollar una integración extrafinanciera propia. Es decir, nuestro proceso de inversión, y eso es algo que Cyril lo tiene muy marcado, incorpora sistemáticamente una función de utilidad social. Es decir, más allá de lo que son criterios puros de análisis financiero, el equipo gestor lo que está mirando está incorporando un criterio ético en su selección de valores. Y eso puede conducir de facto a excluir ciertos valores. Por lo tanto, cualquier valor que no cumpla con una ética o no tenga una utilidad social o tenga un impacto social negativo, no podrá integrar las carteras, independientemente de su calidad financiera. Por lo tanto, somos conscientes de la función de las empresas en los planos medioambientales y sociales, y por lo tanto vamos a seleccionar aquellas compañías, aquellas estrategias de crecimiento duraderas, que es un aspecto pues que va en línea, que va en nuestro ADN de invertir a largo plazo. Y entonces, por el tipo de empresas que seleccionamos, teniendo en cuenta su impacto en la sociedad, pues al final vamos a invertir en compañías que responden a los principales retos abordados por los Objetivos de Desarrollo Sostenible de las Naciones Unidas, y eso es muy importante. Entonces, la política de impacto y de análisis extrafinanciero de LONVIA Capital es muy clara. O sea, análisis de la función de utilidad social de las empresas, analizar el proceso de implementación de la actividad de las empresas. Eso nos permite evaluar las políticas de responsabilidad social corporativa y los efectos positivos o negativos que esa empresa está desarrollando en su actividad, en su cadena de valor, tanto con proveedores como con clientes, como con empleados. Y lo que vamos a hacer es resaltar y analizar cuestiones extrafinancieras específicos de cada empresa candidata a entrar en cartera. Y luego hay una cosa muy importante, hablaba del impacto. Nosotros, en nuestro informe de cada compañía, añadimos lo que es la huella de carbono y la huella medioambiental que nos proporciona un proveedor externo que se llama True Cost. Al final, la huella de carbono, lo que nosotros queremos ver es si en las compañías en las que estamos invirtiendo, cuántas toneladas de dióxido de carbono por cada €1.000.000 invertido están gastando. Con lo cual, lo que buscamos es estimar las emisiones, tanto directas como indirectas, de gases de efecto invernadero en las compañías en cartera. Podemos ir a la siguiente slide, por favor. A la siguiente. Vale, esta es la huella de carbono, donde vemos que efectivamente nuestros fondos emiten por cada €1.000.000 de coste, pues el impacto que tienen en la emisión de toneladas de CO2 pues es muy bajo. Y si vamos a la siguiente slide, también en nuestros informes de cada compañía estamos integrando la huella medioambiental. La huella medioambiental, que al final lo que estima es un ratio anual de los costes relacionados con la polución, con el uso de los recursos básicos como el agua, la degradación del ecosistema, de los residuos y del cambio climático causado por las compañías en las que estamos invirtiendo. Por lo tanto, nosotros decimos que más que una política de etiquetado, de tener un label, nuestro objetivo es integrar completa y sistemáticamente el análisis extrafinanciero en nuestro proceso de selección y poder proporcionar así pues una medición, una evaluación, una medición ex post no estandarizada, pero que destaque los impactos y las cuestiones extrafinancieras específicas de cada empresa que tenemos en cartera. Y ya para terminar, pues además de, como decimos nosotros, además de invertir los ahorros de nuestros clientes o en empresas con modelos de negocio sostenibles, que nosotros consideramos sostenibles, pues también hemos creado una fundación. Hemos creado una fundación donde nos comprometemos a dedicar el 10% de nuestro beneficio neto a apoyar, en particular, pues a la investigación médica, que tan importante es ahora mismo con esta pandemia que estamos viviendo, a la innovación tecnológica, a la educación, a la inclusión social y a la protección del medio ambiente. Lo que queremos con esta fundación, lo que queremos es nuestra ambición es crear un círculo virtuoso con todos nuestros stakeholders y la sociedad en su conjunto. Por lo tanto, yo creo que eso es muy, muy importante, Elena.
Mire, nos preguntan sobre cómo ha recibido el inversor español vuestro aterrizaje en el país y si podéis explicar un poco las expectativas que tenéis.
Vale, le dejo
Iván,
a
Francisco.
Sí, podemos explicarlo perfectamente. Yo por dar alguna pincelada muy concreta, nosotros al principio contábamos que Cyril y su equipo es un modelo de gestión muy reconocido por el inversor español. El inversor español le ha dado mucha confianza a Cyril, a su modelo, y nosotros esa calidez, esa cercanía, la estamos recibiendo durante este primer mes y medio de actividad. Entonces, creo que muy positiva. Creo que estamos haciendo las cosas bien para que el proyecto desde el principio ofrezca una estructura muy robusta y que dé mucha confianza. Antes lo decíamos al principio, que este es un negocio que se basa en la confianza y es lo que estamos buscando de manera transversal sobre todas las actividades que estamos ofreciendo, ¿no? No sé si Iván quiere complementar con algo más.
Yo por complementar una pequeña, un apunte, Elena, yo creo que cualquier inversor, no solamente español, yo creo que cualquier inversor del mundo lo que quiere es entender dónde está invirtiendo. Cuando invierte, quiere saber, quiere entender bien qué es lo que se está haciendo con su dinero. Y yo creo que el proceso de inversión y la filosofía de inversión de LONVIA Capital es muy clara. Es decir, al final, y ya lo ha explicado Cyril, vamos a invertir en compañías. Yo creo que el inversor entiende perfectamente que lo que estamos haciendo no es invertir en ruido, ni invertir, ni hacer movimientos tácticos en función de cómo va el mercado, ni en función de noticias macro, ni en función de expectativas. No, estamos invirtiendo en historias individuales, en modelos de negocio que consideramos que en el largo plazo nos van a ser rentables y nos van a aportar valor añadido. Y cuando uno entiende dónde está invirtiendo, es lo que más desea.
Fenomenal. Pues estamos ya fuera de tiempo. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you very much, Cyril, for your time. It was super interesting. Francisco, Iván, muchísimas gracias. Desde luego tenéis un gran proyecto en vuestras manos. Iba a desearos suerte, pero yo creo que no lo necesitáis. Y sobre todo, muchísimas gracias a LONVIA Capital por colaborar con Fan Society y por hacernos partícipe de vuestro lanzamiento. Muchísimas gracias también a todos a los asistentes, y en breve tendremos la grabación disponible para aquellos que no han podido conectarse. Muchísimas gracias. Feliz tarde.